So if you're a wrestling fan like me, there's a famous clip of Randy Macho Man Savage, probably displayed here. He's on Arsenio Hall in the 90s. And he says what I think a lot of men really need to hear. And I don't care. You want to call me a pussy or weak? I'm right. So here's the clip.
Okay, your middle name is Macho, but I'm wondering if you ever cry. You ever has Macho Man ever cried?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh. It's okay for macho men to show every emotion available right there, because I've cried 1,000 times, I'm gonna cry some more. But I've soared with the eagles and I've slithered with the snakes and I've been everywhere in between. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. There's one guarantee in life, and that there are no guarantees, yeah. And understand this. Yeah. Nobody likes a quitter. Nobody said life was easy, so if you get knocked down, take the standing 8 count, get back up, and fight again. And you're a macho maniac. Dig it.
So of course he adds a little bit more at the end there. Of course, Macho Man has to add some extra, which I love the end of that too. But he's right. A strong man doesn't lose his emotions and let him get out of control. But he's okay and comfortable in his skin to know that I don't care what someone thinks of me. If I'm sad, I'm gonna cry. If I'm at a funeral and I'm sad, I'm not just gonna be. I can't stand this. I grew up like that too, where it's just, oh, you don't cry, suck it up, like that bottles up. That I think that causes some worse shit than if you show it. A man who is himself and together and knows that he has no one to prove anything to should be able to cry in front of his family and even his wife. Now, if the guy's crying all the time and every day, then maybe the guy needs some help. It might be a little too much. Same thing with anger. If you're angry, you should be able to show anger without really showing it. Like, you can be angry and let it know, but you don't need to be effing this and swearing that and throwing stuff and punching holes in walls. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You need to control that. But the ones that men have an easy time showing anger. That's the easy one. Frustration, all that stuff. But the tough one is showing love. And even guys are even afraid to be kind to another guy because they're like, oh, what are you, faggot? What are you, gay? What? No, I'm a nice person that wants to be like, Christ-like. Is that okay? Whatever you believe in, I want to be like that person named Jesus Christ. Like, that should be the goal. Not going to church and not making all these gestures, acting like the example. So if you're kind to another fellow man, what's the problem with that? That's considered weak. Discernment is a gift, but we all have it. You got to tap into it. We all have all the gifts that we need in this world. You're as smart as Einstein. You're as tough as Mike Tyson. We all have everything we need in there. It's a matter of tapping into it. I know I sound nuts, but I strongly believe that. The lie is that we can't. But we've seen people untap it. You're smarter than you realize. If you stop drinking alcohol and you start eating good foods and you start using your brain and start meditating and start reading your brain will regenerate. You will get smarter. You will appear smarter, but it was always there. You'll just get the clouds out. You'll get the fog out. Same thing like working out. Your body will zap right back. But as far as getting back to the emotions, and if you're with some woman that's like, oh, I couldn't be with this guy. He's weak. He cries. Then you don't want to be with a woman like that. If you're that kind of guy that's that high value and that comfortable with himself that he can cry, even if he cries at a little bit of a movie, even if you're not big and muscular, but say you were actually the Macho Man Randy Savage, and you went to see a Pixar movie with your family, right? And you're there, and he's a gentleman. Yeah, let's sit in the center. We can hear it better. Whatever, the situation. If he's sitting there towards the end and he's crying, there's somebody going to look at him like, oh my God, Macho Man, what a pussy. No one's going to think that. No one should think that. If you do, that means that you're trying to deal with some weaknesses yourself by calling that out. You have some issue. But a man should be able to show every emotion of the rainbow, just like he says, That's what a real man does. But he also controls it, and he knows when to use it. It's okay to be angry and violent. That fraction of a percent of a time, if your family's getting messed with, if your wife is getting messed with or disrespected, if you have to be a lion in that position, you be a lion, obviously. You know, and every man has capability to do that too. You might not think, oh, JD does here, but trust me, we're all capable of damage. We all are. But you don't need to keep flexing that every 10 seconds. When that's your whole MO, that means you're scared because you're constantly trying to, everything's a threat to you. You know, but a man that can show emotion and he's alert and aware of his surroundings, but he's not always on guard, has to fight everything. You get cut off, you got to fight somebody. You get almost bumped, you know, the shopping cart, you got to fight somebody, or at least look like a scowl. Make a joke. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Oh, my bad, my bad. And you see it. I see it. I see you guys out there. There's some good guys out there that you look like they're that jerk, tough guy, but their actions always speak. Your actions will tell everyone who you are within 30 seconds. So show all your emotion. You know, don't be afraid to show emotion. Don't be afraid. You know, I get made fun of for texting. You know, I'm a long texter. But man, we're here on this earth a little while. I want to make sure people know how I feel. I want you to know how I feel when I text you. Sorry, and then somebody give me 3 words back. I don't try to go like crazy. But damn it, I got some things I want to express, even if it's just a hello or a how you been, or you know. And I want to usually add a joke in there. But be yourself. If that includes showing all the emotion, and you can still beat someone's ass if you had to protect yourself, but you still cry at a Pixar movie. All right, that's all I got today. Enjoy yourselves.
Are you surprised at my tears, sir?
Oh, fucking A.
Strong men also cry. Strong men also cry.